What's up to all you prompt people here at the right time? We're just waiting for our guests to arrive, and then we'll put them on the stage, and then we'll kick off, all right? So just enjoy some jazz flutes.
Love the jazz flutes. Those are great.
Oh, yes, there he is. Quite a nice jazz flute for the morning, right? I don't know what time it is where you are, but I was quite liking that in the morning.
It's 5 p.m. here, but jazz flutes at 5 p.m. I think that's the right time and the right music as well, isn't it?
It's the right vibes, right? All right, so let's kick off. All right, what's up, everyone? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world right now. You're back with me, Ian Kane, and a massive welcome to this week's first installment of DappRadar Meets. Tomorrow, we've actually got our community call, but I'll fill you in on that in a second. The date today is July 19th. A huge hello to everyone, all the wonderful listeners. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. It's really cool to be here. I hope you're all having a good week as well. Like, a lot of positivity is returning to the space. I woke up this morning, checked my portfolio, and I saw some green for a change. So that was kind of nice. So as always, we record these sessions for people to catch up later and unpack all the details that we go through. If you missed any of the old shows, you can get them on YouTube. Just head over to our channel where you find hundreds of educational and analytical videos. So today, I'm excited to welcome Jeff Wentworth. He's the co-founder of Curvegrid. We're just going to do a quick sound check, but I'm pretty sure we've got you there, Jeff, because we just had that. So how you doing today, man? You okay?
Yes. Yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you. It's a hot day here in Tokyo, Japan, as it is, I think, in most parts of the world. It's 5 p.m. on Tuesday, and yeah, doing very well. Thank you.
Nice, man. Yeah, this heat wave seems to have affected everyone on planet Earth other than us in Lithuania. We seem to have fast forwarded to the future where it's actually autumn already over here. So
Amazing.
Yeah. Not enjoying the sunshine on our end, but yeah. So I'm just going to run through some bits of news and then we'll jump right in. All right. So hold tight and we'll get back to it in just 1 second. So there was some big news that came out at the end of last week about Polygon and Disney. That the Ethereum scaling platform Polygon is one of 6 selected companies to join the 2022 Disney Accelerator program. It provides participants with guidance and mentorship from Disney's senior leadership team. And Disney's going pretty much full steam ahead into Web3 projects, so it's another major milestone. No surprise, the price of Matic yesterday, I think it was up 24%. So yeah, good moves for Matic there. In the top 10 NFTs, as you know, at DappRadar, we go through all the NFT sales over the last 7 days and we see what's been going on. We don't really like to report on the most expensive because at the moment it's generally CryptoPunks and Bored Ape Yacht Club, so it would be kind of a boring top 10. So what we do is we highlight interesting projects and things that are happening. Things that I've seen are the ENS domain names. So in the top 10 yesterday, we had Samsung.eth, Nike.eth, Starbucks.eth, and Hermes.eth. I'm pretty sure none of these were purchased by those brands. Basically, some speculation going on, people capturing web domain names in expectation that they will sell to these brands at a later date. One guy bought one for 3 ETH a couple of years ago. He flipped that yesterday for 60. Pretty good strategy by these dudes. So yeah, nice trend happening there. We also released our latest blockchain gaming DappRadar report. And blockchain games are actually the least affected by the bear market, as activity is only taken a little setback. Gaming activity is actually making up 52% of all the wallets interacting with dapps, nearly 1.1 million unique active wallets in Q2. And as I mentioned at the beginning, we're having our community call. It's our fourth community call, and we're going to stream it out live across all our platforms. So you can find more information for that today on Twitter. And come and find out what DappRadar is building and all our plans for the future. And we'll also cover what we spoke about last time and tell everybody where we're at with those developments as well. So head to Twitter, you can find all the information there. We've also got some POAPs. So for the people that show up, you get your little reward for that. So make sure you come along. You can find all this information on our blog, tons of information, tons of articles, loads of trends, and this all ensures you stay one step ahead. So go and check that out. But not now, because now we're going to jump into the main event. So as regular listeners know, we sit down with the brightest minds, blockchains, dapps, NFT collections, and we like to get an idea of what they're all about. And most importantly, put a human face onto these projects and give you guys in the audience a chance to ask any questions that you have. If you have a question, just stick up your hand. I'll bring you on the stage. You can ask your question. If you're shy, no problem. Just text it over to me via the Discord channel. Text it, showing my age there. Send it over to me via the Discord channel, and I'll read that out too and get that answered for you. So, Jeff, I think I've warmed everybody up. Let's jump into what I call the elevator pitch. I want you to pretend, I'm really sorry about this, but you're stuck in an elevator with me for about a minute, and I want you to tell me about Curvegrid and why I should be paying attention, in less than a minute. So no pressure, Jeff. Off you go.
Wonderful. Thanks, Ian. So, hi, I'm Jeff. I'm the co-founder of Curvegrid, and Curvegrid is a blockchain middleware company based in Tokyo, Japan. Our product is called Multibass, and that is multi-blockchain as a service. And what our middleware does is makes it fast, easy, and cost-effective to build on multiple blockchain platforms than if you were to do everything from scratch yourselves. So build everything versus if you were to build everything full custom. We also have a series of solutions that we offer on top of Multibass, including one of our most recent additions to the Curvegrid portfolio, which is called NFT Pot, which is a Shopify-based NFT minting app. So for creating and selling NFTs on the Shopify e-commerce platform. I think that was about a minute.
I think that was pretty good, Jeff. You've been practicing, my man. Yeah, really nice. Thank you very much. That really outlines well what we're going to be talking about today. And some interesting topics there that we'll dive in and unpack everything that the platform is about and what it does. First of all, as I said, I like to get an idea of who I'm speaking to. So I did a little bit of homework on you, Jeff, and I kind of know what you did in your academics and things like that. But tell me a bit about yourself, man. Like, what kind of background did you come from before you ended up in this crazy blockchain world? Like, maybe you came from gaming or finance. Tell us a bit about yourself, Jeff.
Yeah, I thank you. I come from the very exciting world of technology infrastructure. So I started my career in data. Yeah, I know. I started my career in data storage and worked in a mixture of engineering, customer engineering, sales engineering, and then moved into financial services. So I worked for a large investment bank for several years, again doing infrastructure engineering, and then heard about the DAO, the original DAO, way back in 2016, and thought, wow, this is something that's going to change the world. Like blockchain and cryptocurrency didn't really make sense to me until that point, like not really. But I saw the original DAO and thought, wow, yeah, this is going to change the world. So that was sort of the seed that got planted, and then my co-founder and I have known each other for many years, and we founded Curvegrid in 2017, and the rest is history.
Wow, pretty cool story. Like, I like the way you described that then, and maybe what you were doing was perhaps not the most rock and roll or exciting, but absolutely critical to what you were working on. So, it's not everything is rock star lifestyle, right? But the engineering side of things is probably one of the most important. So don't do yourself a disjustice, Jeff. I think very important. Sure. But that's really cool, man. That's cool to get a picture of your background and where you come from and now where we're going. So just as a kind of overarching question, we got an idea of what Curvegrid's all about, but what's the big picture for the company? What do you want to enable, facilitate? We spoke about it's about dapps, right? So give everyone a little taste of what Curvegrid's trying to do out there right now.
Sure. So, any company, any project, any organization, any developer that's trying to build on top of blockchain has, we say gone down the rabbit hole or run into roadblocks or, hit all sorts of challenges in trying to bring their product to market. And we're aiming to remove those barriers. So, in contrast, let's say to other companies or projects or technologies that are focusing on, a particular area of what we would call the stack or like the ecosystem. Maybe it's making it easier for wallets or making it easier for games or making it easier for NFTs. Our goal is to really make it easy at a much lower level. So, whatever you might want to build, whatever kind of Dapp you may want to build, we aim to make that experience a lot easier and faster for you. So allow you to bring your vision to market that much quicker. And we do that by providing a middleware platform, right? So software as a service platform that sits above the node providers. So if you're familiar with blockchain node providers like Infura or Alchemy or Chainstack, right? We sit above that and give our customers and our partners a really, really easy platform to build on, to bring their vision to market on.
Nice. Okay. So what kind of, I mean, inevitably when you come up with a business idea, it's usually because you see blockers or you see problems in the industry, right? And what kind of led you to this? I mean, I 100% agree with you. I think most people who understand this industry know that Dapp onboarding, Dapp usage, it's not the best. So is that what was the kind of journey that led you to think about dapps? You know, did you try and use them? Were they clunky and annoying? Like, what blockers did you see that you thought we're never going to get to mass adoption like this? Like, talk to us a bit about that and like what you see as the biggest blockers.
Sure, sure. So if you rewind all the way back to May 2017, my co-founder and I were on an airplane to New York City for Consensus, SUS, the conference. In May 2017, we were 2 weeks into our startup, and we didn't know anything about blockchain. Not really. I mean, a little bit, but we hadn't really started building it. By the way, you asked about my background. Both my co-founder and I come from software engineering, computer science backgrounds, so we're both quite technical at heart. And we were participating in a hackathon at the Consensus conference. And by the way, Consensus 2017 was all about ICOs. Like that was when the wave of ICOs was just kicking off. So we arrived at this hackathon, and one of our ideas from our list of ideas was to build basically a warehouse management platform on the blockchain. And we spent basically the entire weekend just trying to set up a blockchain node and like write a 3-line smart contract. And we had no idea what we were doing. And we actually ended up winning a prize, which was basically the prize for the team that needs the most improvement. And so
oh no,
it was great. It was wonderful. I mean, actually, yeah. Not even like improved the most, but needs the most improvement. All right, let's be positive, right? That there was a lot of potential for, but you're not quite there yet. And so actually, that was that prize was entrance into Consensus SYS Academy, and so we were thankful to participate in the first cohort of that. What we figured out, a few weeks after that conference, though, in that hackathon, was that as we started to build our warehouse management platform on the blockchain, so it's a Dapp, manages physical warehouse inventory like T-shirts or shoes or whatever it might be that in a warehouse, was that we were spending weeks and weeks and weeks just writing code to basically manage the infrastructure, manage the blockchain nodes, and give us things like a REST API for any of you, those out there that are developers. And what we realize is, wait a minute, if we're running into these problems and we're writing all of this extra code, I mean, it's probably something that a lot of people would find useful. And so we thought we left the warehouse management Dapp to the side and just started building our product, which then turned into Multibass.
Wow, that's quite a journey, man. That's really cool because it's a similar story as to what other companies and other people I speak to say. It's like at that time things were quite kind of underdeveloped and people were kind of stumbling across these blockers and trying to solve these problems. And now we fast forward 5 years and they're more relevant than ever. And I think it's amazing that it's a great journey to go on. And I think it's very interesting as well. We need to dive into the kind of, I mean, you briefly mentioned blockchain nodes there. So one question, I mean, you basically, the platform is a blockchain middleware platform, right? So how does that differ from a node? And like maybe first, for people who are not sure, explain what a node is, like in simple terms, and like how they differ, because it'd be interesting to outline those two, the differences there.
Sure. So I mean, if you think about it at kind of a very cerebral level, like a blockchain is just this construct that we all kind of subscribe to, that we agree exists in its current form. I mean, at a really like sort of cerebral level. And if you dive down a little bit further, it's at its kind of nuts and bolts layer, it's servers that are talking to one another over the internet. And we all agree that we're going to run the same server software and that we're all going to basically, rely on the rules that that these computer programs that are running on servers are essentially running, right? So it's not, and that's the decentralization aspect, right? Like you and me, we're both running our own blockchain server, and they're talking to one another, and they're talking to the 10,000 other servers out there. And some of those servers are miners that are, economically incentivized to basically produce blocks in some way, whether it's mining or whether it's proof of work or proof of stake or whatever other consensus mechanism. But all the rest of us are basically running these servers. One of those servers is called a blockchain node, right? So that's the actual blockchain software, let's say on Ethereum, that is connecting to the blockchain, downloading all the data and validating it. Even if I'm not mining, right? It's keeping a copy of all of that data. And you can do that on your own laptop. And, it'll take you somewhere between, 12 hours and 12 days to sync the blockchain, to basically download all the data and verify it. And it's going to take, several hundred gigabytes of disk space. Well, let's say between 50 and several hundred gigabytes of disk space. So, it could basically consume like your entire laptop just to keep in touch with the blockchain node. Okay. And so that's what a blockchain node is. Now, a blockchain node provider is basically a service that you sign up to. And rather than putting all of that software on your own computer, on your own laptop, they run it for you, and you just connect to it in the cloud, right? And so that's what a node, you can kind of think of a node provider as sort of like an internet service provider, like a dial-up, or maybe like a high-speed internet service provider. That's the service they provide. It's a very low level, like just get me onto the internet kind of service.
Okay. Yeah.
You with me so far?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I'm totally with you.
Yeah. How did the analogy hang together? How did that analogy hang together?
I'm loving it, man. Like for me, like this is something that I'm talking about all the time. But for the audience, I think you're doing a great job, because the main thing about these chats is to outline things in a simplistic way, and I think you're nailing it entirely. Sure. So yeah, cool, man. Please continue.
I'll go one step further with the analogy then. So
deeper into the rabbit hole, right?
You will go deeper into the rabbit hole, right? We'll go around the roadblocks, if you will, a little bit further. So yeah, I mean you could be running a node in your laptop, but you don't want to be doing that. So you use a node provider, which is running the software on your behalf, and you connect to it. The way that you connect to it is, the most common way that we all probably connect to it is, number one, via MetaMask, right? So MetaMask actually is a small piece of software, right? A browser plugin, or your other Web3, favorite Web3 wallet of choice. It's a browser plugin or a mobile application running on your laptop that connects to a node provider. It doesn't have the node itself, but connects to the node provider. The other way you might be using it is if you're a developer and you sign up to a node provider service and basically connect to it over a kind of system called JSON RPC. Now, that's a fancy way of saying, there's a particular way to talk to the blockchain node to interact with it, right? But as a developer, as a software engineer, you have to understand what that is. And that's basically something that the combination of blockchain, JSON RPC, Web3, let's say, protocol is something that's extremely specific to the blockchain and is extremely nuanced. So, if you want to build a simple kind of Dapp, right? Like, let's say something that displays a balance for a single wallet when you click a button. Yeah. It's pretty straightforward to just use a node provider, right? Mm-hmm. And a web page.
From there and display it on your side. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Sort of if you're a software engineer, it's like the Hello World example, or the Web3 101 kind of tutorial that you go through. Yeah. If you want to build something that's a little bit more complicated, you want to go from like clicking a button to display a balance to building like a dashboard that displays, the historical trend over time of how, the balances are on AMM pool, right? Or a staking pool, or, wants to display details about, how NFTs are connected to one another, or you want to build some kind of marketplace, like anything that's more complicated.
More complex stuff,
It's it's sort of like when you connect to the internet and you want to build like an internet, like a web connected application or a mobile application. You don't just need a internet service provider. You need something that's going to get you a little bit further. You could build it all yourself if you want, right? And that's what we started out doing with our warehouse management tool. But the whole premise of Multibass and our platform is that why would you build everything from scratch? Like, that's not the value add for whatever it is you're trying to do on the blockchain. So we'll just use that's where the value from our offering comes in.
So the value proposition is like off the shelf, out the box solutions to the most common Dapp building issues, and then also
Exactly.
solving the connection issues as well, whereby more complex dapps, like you say, finance dapps that need to pull data for yields and prices and other things, can basically tap into these services without having to reinvent the wheel, as it were, I guess. So overall, an extremely useful service, So let's dive in a bit deeper into the actual sort of Curvegrid products. And you mentioned NFT pot, which sounds really exciting because you mentioned Shopify as well. So I don't know if you want to start there, but I kind of wanted to run through things like the Multibass NFT, the Multibass bridge, and things like that. Should we start with Teapot? Because it's pretty exciting, I think, for you guys right now, right?
Yeah, it's super exciting. We've seen great uptake on it, great interest in it. The whole idea is that selling, as we all know, right? Selling digital assets is nothing new, right? It's from iTunes, selling digital images or wallpapers or ringtone. You mentioned texting earlier, like selling ringtones, right? Just to take everyone back a little bit.
I remember that stuff, that people used to actually pay to receive a crap version of a song on their mobile phone. Like
you heard it here first. There's going to be a retro revival of ringtones as NFTs. Someone's going to do it.
All that rubbish that I collected in my teens, I can finally have some use for it. Amazing.
There you go. That's right. We're gonna have to hotwire and retrofit your old Nokia candy bar phone to
I can't wait,
support NFTs.
Can't wait.
But that's it. Like, people were paying like dollars or euros for like ringtones, these like little bleeps and blips that somebody had, and so selling digital assets is nothing new. And I think we all probably understand the value of NFTs and what that brings to it, right? Where it's no longer tied to a single database. There's transparency around the provenance and history of the digital asset, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Another aspect of that I think that's very, very powerful is basically connecting decentralized digital assets or NFTs to traditional payment rails and traditional e-commerce. And there's a few different ways to do that, right? You could go and build everything from scratch, totally legitimate, especially if you're doing it at scale. But what we thought was, why don't we offer, because we had a number of our customers and partners that were asking about this, why don't we come up with something that connects to one of the most popular e-commerce platforms out there, and that's Shopify. And so, we had that idea in general for some time. And then in late 2021, Shopify announced a beta program for basically selling NFTs, doing token gated commerce on the Shopify e-commerce platform. Their leadership came out, very much in support of it. And I believe their founder and chairman Toby sits on the board of Coinbase now. This is a very powerful and important thing because, like e-commerce payments, everything involving that is very, very complex and nuanced. And to get it right, and to not, to avoid things like fraud, and to make the customer experience very, very good, is a very difficult thing to do. And we didn't want to build all of that side of it from scratch. And so I think partnering with Shopify and having Shopify basically start to open up their platform to that and be open to that was very, very important. And I think there's sort of two aspects to that, right? One is all of the e-commerce stuff that us and our partners, our customers don't need to take care of. And then the second thing is advocacy that Shopify is doing in the blockchain space, especially when it comes to traditional finance and traditional banking and large brands, et cetera, et cetera. So, and when you look at, for example, like globally, right? Some of the challenges that I think people have with selling NFTs is for fiat currency, for credit card payments, is can we get everybody that's in the payment flow on board with this, right? Credit card companies, banks, clearinghouses, payment processors, et cetera, et cetera. And that's something that Shopify has gone and sort of done, once, right? And at their sort of scale. So we don't need to take care of that. And the merchants, the brands don't need to take care of that. That's aspect number one. Aspect number two is, and I think I've reversed these, but it doesn't really matter. The other aspect is, just in terms of making the e-commerce experience very, very easy. I mean, they manage things like, their whole platform allows you to very easily manage things like customers and products and orders, and they do fraud checks and automatic flagging of things, and you can sell physical products alongside NFTs and other kinds of digital products. So what we did basically was we just wrote an app and can focus on the NFT part of it, and that plugs into any Shopify store and allows merchants to sell NFTs very, very easily.
Nice. Really important point that you mentioned there about all parties in the process being involved and with buy-in as well. Like you say, it's all well and good that you take a payment in, I don't know, a stable coin, for example, but then it needs to be processed. Then it needs to go through the correct, like all the hands need to hold it for a second, basically, don't they? So it's a really important point that you mentioned there, that it's that everybody has to be on board in order for the process to work properly. And Shopify, I believe, I'm not sure of their numbers, but one of the biggest e-commerce platforms on earth. So this is a great move by them. Did you know about that in advance? You said they were kind of advocating for it and that you'd also had that idea. Did you have inklings that Shopify would be a platform that you could kind of work with in the future, or did it just kind of surprise you, come from nowhere, that they were embracing?
Well, their leadership popped up on, crypto Twitter sometimes, and, on some of the like blockchain and Web3 Reddit forums, interestingly enough. So there's this sense that, yeah, they could be, it could be something that they explore at some point. But yeah, I mean, the timing was good. And I think not just the timing, but how they really jumped into it with both feet was really great.
All right, cool. So with NFT Pop, basically, the builders can apply this to their current Shopify store. Am I right in thinking this?
That's correct. Yeah.
If they want to then sell NFT digital items through their store, that it will facilitate that for them. Very cool. Very cool. How about the idea of kind of, one of the things we've been talking about loads recently that people keep mentioning about the NFT side of things is that people are still kind of eager to get their hands on real world items as well. Will that be something, do you think, that Shopify could lend a hand in as well, whereby the store can sell the NFT plus the physical item? Is there any, like, how do you feel about that? Like, I just keep hearing people say they still want the physical against all, like, it kind of goes against what we're trying to do here. But yeah, a lot of people asking for that. So what do you think about that?
Well, it's like when you sign up for maybe a magazine subscription, it's like, do I want the digital only one? Or, you know what, I like to stack the National Geographics on my shelf. But I also want to read it on the train. I don't want to carry it around. Like, or, give me the Blu-ray because actually the quality is going to be better, or it's then mine. But I'd also like the digital download as well. So I actually think there's like reasonable precedents for that also, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's great, right? And especially in sort of the kinds of things that you can do with NFTs or digital items in general, where you can remix them, you can add to them, you can change the color, you can customize them, you can build them yourself more easily. Maybe you want to like print your NFT onto a coffee mug, right? Like an image of whatever, or, onto a t-shirt or something like that. And, that's the sort of thing that, yeah, I mean, the Shopify platform is really tailor made for. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like I saw a service that will do printing basically. Like you send them your image file of an NFT and you can have it printed onto a t-shirt, which is pretty cool. Like there's a whole nother level of commerce emerging from this NFT commerce boom as well, which is really interesting, I think.
Absolutely.
In terms of, so what we're saying here is that builders, Dapp builders and developers can come and connect with you guys and build products. But what blockchain are we discussing here? Like what are you supporting other networks? Like I'm just asking the stupid question. Like who
Yeah.
can build with you guys? Like is it EVM compatible chains? Who can build with Curvegrid?
Yeah. At the moment, it's EVM compatible chains. We also have support for Algorand as well on our bridge. And the focus we focus mostly with Algorand plus the EVM compatible chains because that's where most of the interest has been to date.
Yeah.
And I would say most of the activity and most of the asks and requests from our customers and partners. I think like many platforms, we're looking to add support for, in addition to Ethereum, Polygon, BNB Smart Chain, Avalanche, Algorand. We're looking to add support for kind of the usual suspects, right? Like Solana, Flow, and others in the future. But yeah, I mean that's the multi and multi-bass. We're certainly chain agnostic.
Nice. And in the wild, in the real world, where can we see a kind of a Curvegrid project? Is there anything out there currently that's working, that's collecting users, that's generating value? Like what, or are there things that are in the pipeline that are quite exciting? Could you tell us about any projects like that, Jeff?
Yeah, sure. So, our actually go-to-market strategy is we tend to work with a smaller number of partners more directly, and so many of them are actually under NDA. So I can't really talk too much about them at this point. I can share a couple of different examples. So maybe I'll just run through a couple of quick examples that sort of shows some of the versatility of our platform and what we're building.
Yeah, that's it, man. Like
Great.
give people a touch of like kind of what's possible there and kind of the basics and how far they can take, like sky's the limit. How far can they go kind of thing. What's been happening. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, the world's biggest concert streaming platform. It's a platform called Zyko. They do, a lot. I mean, we're talking like thousands of concerts every month, and mostly in Asia, but also they have a large North America and I believe European presence as well. They have actually two different NFT products that are both built on multi-bass. One is kind of a fan club. A kind of NFT or NFT, an artist fan club membership as an NFT. It's a subscription NFT, which I think is very unique, and that's called One Fan.
Okay,
and they have another one which is sort of like it's almost it's called Digitama. It's like digital ticket stubs. So usually when you go to a concert, you would get, I mean, in the past, right? You get a physical ticket stub, and maybe that's something you keep, and you get it autographed, you put in your scrapbook. With the advent of not just online concerts, but digital tickets, you get like a plain text email with a link in it or a QR code or something. It's not very exciting to sort of like print that out and frame it. It is, right? So they've turned those into basically it's your legitimate ticket and ticket stub, but it's also an NFT that you can trade, that the artist could autograph and things like that. And so I mean, they've sort of they use the gamut of everything we kind of have to offer. Our API, connection to the blockchain nodes, chain indexer, custodial wallet, and they've also built credit card payments on top of that as well. So I think very, very innovative on two different blockchain platforms actually. So yeah, go ahead.
It was super interesting. I think the ticketing side of things and the stubs, like you were saying, I've always thought that having a collection, like I've got a box of stubs, but I know
Yeah.
it's kind of taking up space and it's a bit physical. Like I'd love to be able to pull out my phone and look at the last 20 years of gigs I went to. I think it's a very cool idea and something that'll catch, definitely, man. Sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm
No,
really
no. I
excited.
mean, yeah, it's sort of not the typical like PFP project or
Oh, yeah.
so that's why I think it's interesting to highlight, and they've done a lot of interesting kind of innovative things, sort of pushing the envelope there. And the really, I think that one of the really nifty things about it is it's like a very, through multibass, they've been able to give, first of all, get to market very, very quickly. I mean,
Mm,
you know,
yeah.
many times faster than they would have if they built everything from scratch. And then they're able to put all of their effort into, focusing on the user experience. And so it is a very Web2 experience with a very strong Web3 backend. And I think that's just, I think if I had to say where I think we're going to see a lot of growth and interest in innovation over the next year or two, I think that's where it's going to be. And yeah, that kind of leads to a second example, which is a more recent partner of ours called Petaverse. So
Yeah, I saw
they
this in the news. Yeah, I saw this.
yeah. So they basically they are building a platform and a protocol that um, for virtual pets,
Huh.
right? And it's the technology is very, very cool. I mean, it's the whole team comes from a very has a lot of experience in the gaming space, in the AR augmented reality space. So even, I mean, some of the demos you may have seen on their Twitter feed where you can hold your phone up in your room and like you've got your virtual cat like walking around and like playing with toys and things like that. Super, super cool. And basically, to be able to have a virtual pet, but then open it up as a protocol where you can, potentially, right, take it into different games or in different metaverses. I mean, it's a very, very cool concept that, it's one of those things I think that looks so easy,
Yeah.
but when you get into it and you start unpacking their technology and their vision, it's like, wow, this is like way more complicated than we would have thought. And we're happy to say like they're going to be using, combination of multibass and NFT pots and some of our smart contracts and everything else. So yeah, very like those are, there's another example, which is gaming AR, but I think a little bit different and again, very innovative versus
Yeah.
some of the other things that we see out there.
I think it's more about these kind of real world projects, like you say, that you've got the PFP avatar collections for NFTs, and that's really hyped over
Sure.
the last like 18 months. But now it feels to me like the utility part of NFTs, which is the most exciting part for me, I believe, is now going to come out and get its time to shine as well. Like we're talking about these sort of solutions to real world problems, basically, which is very cool. But you mentioned as well there that you're working in the company is based in Japan. Am I right? And
Yeah,
so
that's correct.
tell us a bit about the Japanese blockchain market. Like, I know they're big for gaming. Like, I know that we've got some connections over there in regarding games and things like that. There's big interest, but what's the kind of feel over there? What's hyping? Like, what's big in Japan?
Yeah, we're speaking. I mean,
Everything.
people forget, right? It's so easy to sort of forget that Japan is the world's, second biggest open economy, maybe let's say third biggest economy. I mean, it's just a massive, massive market, and and domestically, right, as a domestic market here. But there's always been this sort of business culture barrier and language barrier to a degree, and so it's I think oftentimes like kind of the news, like the best, the kind of the best things take time to sort of filter out as well as filter
Yeah.
in as well. And so, your question I think is very interesting and relevant because, yeah, there's a lot going on here. First of all, for cryptocurrency or as they're called, crypto assets,
Hmm.
Japan I think was one of the first economies to fully regulate sort of everything, right? Which has been, maybe a little bit more challenging for people that are building like pure DeFi projects. But I
Yeah.
think it's been very, very good from a kind of normalizing Web3 and blockchain, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no concern here about kind of operating for us at least as a Web3 software company, as there might be in other jurisdictions, or there's no concern about can we open a crypto exchange account if we're in, this state or territory versus that one, even though we're still in Japan. It's all very kind of smooth and regulated here. I think that, in terms of as far as the games industry goes and blockchain, we've seen a ton of interest, interest domestically. I think that, it is at the same time kind of following some of the same patterns we're seeing globally, where the games that are kind of printing money within their own ecosystems aren't showing any like major sign of like moving to Web3 and blockchain and NFTs. Like we don't see, as far as I know, like we don't see like Fortnite NFTs kind of replacing the entire in-game economy, because they've got a very good thing going, there. And I think that's very similar for Japan at this point.
All right. Interesting. It's always interesting to discover what's going on in different markets, because as you say, trends can take longer to move. As far as we know on this side of the world, people are still hyping over crypto punks over there. So it's always interesting to find out what's going on.
Sure.
But all right, cool. I mean, let's talk about the opportunities in the market. I think it's a very important time to talk about these things, given what's happening in the market right now. We keep repeating ourselves and saying it's a time for builders to step forward, and for projects with a long tail and those with big foresight to really kind of shine right now. Where do you think the most significant opportunities are in the next couple of years in this space? Like, where's the smart money going? What do you see?
Yeah. I wish I had a time machine, as we all do, because we'd be, be able to predict the future. But I think that it's what was it? What's that old saying that like if you in certain places in the world, like if you don't like the weather outside right now, just wait 5 minutes. I mean, it's kind of like that in I think in the blockchain Web3 space, where you've got kind of normal time, and then you've got like startup time where things move like 10 times faster, and then you've got like Web3 time where things move 100 times faster. And it's interesting to think that like what was it? I saw a tweet, I think, from Beeple October of last year, October 2021. And he said, wow, now marks the 1 year anniversary of when I heard about NFTs. Right. Wow. It was like, everything. Yeah. Right. It's like a year and a half later. Right. And I mean, year and a half after he heard about it, like and then sort of like he'd heard about it 4 months later, it was the $69 million Beeple. And then, here we are, there we were a year and a half later, whatever. That is something along that time frame. And I think that that's one thing that is fair to kind of put money on, is that I don't think the pace of change and innovation is going to slow down at all. I don't see anybody letting their foot off the gas. I mean, this is probably the third bear market I've been through, maybe fourth. It depends how you count it. But it's sort of like, I mean, everything is, I learned this from working in finance. Everything is cyclical, and I think this is no different. Of course, we don't know when it's going to change, but I think that first of all, again, that speed of change and innovation will stay. I think the second thing is that in terms of where the interest is going to be, I would say gaming. I think that online games plus NFTs and blockchain and Web3. It's kind of like, people use the analogy that we're in like the early days of the internet, like the early 90s. I think that's very true. But if you think back to then, like there were really no online games. Maybe you connected to like a BBS, like you dialed up with your modem, or, the early days of the internet, you connect to a central server.
Nukem and stuff like that, I think was one of the first.
Yeah, ones. Exactly. Like 4-player, like 2-player games or 4-player games. And it kind of feels that way with blockchain as well. We're seeing some early efforts. I mean, we probably all saw some of the previews of like the other side. Like the like how they're combining a lot of people in a like a giant open world type environment. But I think that's I don't think we've really, and I don't know what their plan and their roadmap is, but it's not that it has to. It's not that it's. I don't even think it necessarily has to look or be like that, right? I think it's that we haven't quite figured out what the sweet spot for Web3 and gaming is yet, but I think that we will over the next 12 to 18 months. So I think that's going to be very, very interesting.
I've got one eye on gaming. I think I always have as well, for the same reasons as you. I think it has the ability to push adoption harder than anything. I think with finance and DeFi, one thing we were talking about the other day is that in the DeFi world, we measure things by TVL, right? We're not measuring things by adoption as such. You can have a huge TVL and only 5 investors, and one of them's got the lion's share. So I always like to, and that's something that we do at DappRadar, obviously, is measure things by our metric of unique active wallets, which I really like because I think it shows proper growth. And it's just interesting in the gaming world that you've got a huge number of people that are into games that want to play for a pastime or just for leisure, and we can potentially flip them over. We've just got this kind of education journey, I guess, to go on first for a little while, Jeff, where we need to teach people about why this is a better way to do things. But then again, like you've just mentioned about, I was watching the video for the other side, and I was watching was the frame rate, right? And everyone was getting super excited about that. Like, look at this, there's 4,500 players in here and they're all perfectly in sync with one another. I think we've got that tech already, right? The company that's doing it.
Exactly.
So now it feels like it's a bit of a jigsaw, and we're just kind of like sticking all the pieces together so that we can innovate in the correct manner rather than just like a lot of people also say that DeFi was a distraction, like it did wonders for the industry, but has it really progressed us in the way that we wanted to, where, our mums and dads are using dapps? I don't think so, right?
Yeah.
It's not really got us there yet. So what do you think are the biggest challenges? So we kind of talked about the opportunities over the next couple of years. So there's plenty of opportunity there. What would you say are the biggest challenges that are in front of the industry, yourself, your company? What do you think about that?
Well, I think it starts with what you just mentioned, Ian, which was, getting our parents or really anybody who's not into this onto and involved and using Web3, right? And to use more analogies, right? Like, we had smartphones before the iPhone. It's just they weren't really cool. It's like a Palm Pilot or, whatever, Nokia with a big keyboard or something like that. It was a corporate like tool, right? It was a piece of, something you would use at the office, right?
Office people had them, right? If you needed to write emails, then you had one of these complicated phones. But go on, sorry. And then I'll say
no, but that's it. And I think that so I think that's the biggest challenge still is like making it easy to use, making it cool to use, right? And I think that it's funny. I was at a meetup like a few weeks ago. No, it wasn't a meetup. It's not a meetup. It's not a Web3 meetup. It was like a random, party or event with some friends, and I was talking to somebody about what I was doing. He said, "Oh, you're like an engineer. Oh, so you're like." He's like, you realize, he's around my age, and he's like, you realize that like now you're like one of the cool people. Like you no longer, that didn't used to be the case. But I think it's true, right? Like, and I think like even things like Minecraft have really opened that up to a whole other generation where people, don't realize that they're basically programming things, but that's essentially what they're doing, right? And so I think we're missing that still in Web3, right? Like I'm still waiting for the Web3 wallet that like doesn't feel clunky, right? Or works really, really well. And we're not there yet, right? Secure, easy to use, intuitive. Like we're not there. And I think it's of course it's about like cryptocurrency, but I think more than that, it's about just managing your digital identity, your decentralized identity, and interaction with these different dapps. And I think, I think when we get there, that will open up. That will help. That will really help. I think the second challenge to overcome is, coming back to things like Minecraft and games and everything like that, like making it really, really easy and intuitive, like making integrating it with games in such a way that it doesn't feel kind of like clunky, and that it doesn't feel like forced. So I shouldn't have to think about it, right? And to one point, like I think game companies have actually done a really stellar job of that in one area, which is in-game items, right? Like if you're going to go buy a skin or a hat or like the whole economy, you're doing like free to play, and then you're grinding to sort of like get some goods or items, and then all of a sudden now you're paying a little bit of money for it because you want to support the game or you like it or you want to level up to the next thing. Like that whole experience is almost like too easy. And I'm not saying it has to be about money for Web3, but I think that kind of like really easy experience is sort of where we need to get to as well. And I think that's still a huge challenge. I don't know when we'll solve that, but I think we'll start to see that. We'll start to see real progress in that over the next 12 to 18 months.
I think we might have that kind of. I couldn't agree with everything you've said more, Jeff. I think it's absolutely pivotal that we get to this mass adoption, and it might occur that. Do you remember in the mobile gaming world we had Angry Birds that kind of came from nowhere?
Yeah.
Perhaps not from nowhere, but came out of nowhere. Had very cool physics. I like the game itself. It was pretty funky, but let's not call it groundbreaking because it wasn't really, was it? It was just firing a bird at a stack of things. But it changed the game because I think, number one, it gave the mobile device a true purpose for playing a game. Like you mentioned about the Nokias and the Blackberries there. They didn't really do any, if you needed it for the office, it did that for you. You couldn't really play anything better than Snake, right? I mean, mobile phone really only truly became useful when apps became better. Let's be real. I think like they are the reason for the phone, aren't they? Like you barely use your phone anymore. You use the app. So is it perhaps, and we see now that Solana's launched this mobile phone, Web3 phone. People seem to be thinking that we can replicate that kind of trodden path, as it were. But I'm not so certain. Like, I guess we need the carrier for dapps. And in the mobile world, it was mobile phones carried apps to success. But what's going to carry dapps to success? Will it be? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just kind of thinking out loud here, to be honest, man, but it's kind of interesting, isn't it? Like, what will be the vessel that carries dapps into mainstream? Is it going to be banking? I think that's a tricky one because people are quite conditioned to using Visa and whatever. And yes, it's expensive, but you've got to flip all these people over to a new way of thinking. So I'm just, what do you think about how we're doing that right now? Like the way that companies approach things. Like I kind of think that crypto native companies are still being a bit crypto native, but perhaps that's just the where we are right now. Don't know, Jeff. I don't even know if there's a question in there, to be honest. But
what do you think? No, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think it's I think the broad thought that I have is, and I might have mentioned this. I probably mentioned this before. Was like not to make it feel forced, right? And kind of the like extension of that is to not make it about Web3. It's just like nobody thinks about a mobile app or any kind of game as being like internet connected. Like, of course it's internet connected. Like that's how we do all this cool stuff. But like nobody ever thinks about it. And we just accept the fact that like if you're going to do something interesting and useful in the gaming space, or actually even in life, right? Like you need Wi-Fi, right? And like or like a cellular connection or whatever. And so I think that's the thing. Like I think those are the Web3 companies that are going to be successful, the ones that don't think about it and don't push it as being Web3 at all, right? And I think the challenge there is that like it's less interesting and exciting maybe for investors and for like people to kind of build hype around, but I think it's long term a lot more sustainable, right? It's sort of like I mean, like we've gone through several waves of e-commerce companies, right? Like pets.com, which I mean, was like buying Super Bowl ads in like 2000, 2001, and then the dot-com crash happened and all these companies like went out of business. And, but there were companies born of that age, Amazon, PayPal, eBay, that like survived and thrived. And I think that, not to try and draw too direct a parallel, but I think, they were very, very focused on like the customer experience rather than it being about like being a Web 1 or Web 2 company. And I think that's the same thing here, right? So, like if Petaverse can just build a super cool like AR, VR experience for your cat or your pet, right? Then that's going to be something that brings people to it, versus it being all about like Web3 and blockchain, or with Zyko, with the taunt. Like, if it is a way for you to connect with creators, like in a meaningful way, and like have souvenirs, like isn't that a better experience? Like having this like cool interactive, like, beautiful like like digital concert ticket stuff that you can show off to your friends, and like actually has meaning and value, and connects to all, like is immediately viewable on all these sort of like Web3 marketplaces and dashboards. Doesn't matter if like your friend's got a MetaMask or not. Like they can check it out and doodle on it, whatever, right? Like that. I think those are the kinds of things that I think are going to have lasting power. But I think it's a longer road for them because of, in the current environment, at least until now, there's more hype about like in our echo chamber of Web3, like let's push Web3 and blockchain.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. I feel like it's going to be there'll be a moment where that people realize that what you've just said is the most important. Like, you've got, as I agree with you, you look at companies like Amazon, and you think about their customer service, their one day, next day deliveries, things like that. These are the reasons they're so successful, right? They hone in on what people really want, not what. I think in Web2 sometimes we give people what we think they want. Like, we think they want to know all about blockchain and how wonderful it is and how marvelous and all these great things it can do.
Yeah.
When I kind of think if you just hide it in the back, well, actually, I know, given using data as a guide, you look at some of the top trending dapps on DappRadar, they are the ones that hide all of this in the background and rarely mention blockchain at all. They keep it hidden. Most people don't even know they're interacting with the network, nothing like that. They just play the game, they have some fun, they put it down, and they get on with their day. And I think exactly like, I actually said it earlier in the call, Jeff, I think you said something along the lines of Web3 apps with Web2 feelings, right? And I think that's really going to be the key to it. And I just wanted to mention, actually, we were talking about video games there in the traditional sense, and I heard a bit of a rumor yesterday that GTA 6 are going to incorporate, now I use the word incorporate very loosely here, they're going to incorporate crypto and NFTs. Now I think it will be like in the old game where they introduced the players to stocks and shares. You could crash the markets and you could buy on your phone, and you had your phone. That would be a good step forward, I believe, for our space, in that people would learn, not interact with and not use, because I don't think GTA would ever put crypto into that. It's just too much of a moneymaker for them, right? To risk it. But if they could educate a whole bunch of people about crypto, stock market, in that sense, I think that could be incredibly useful, man. And maybe those kind of steps are the ones that will get us to where we need to be, where I think it's like leaning on Web2 a bit to help us, and be like, yo, guys, you need to kind of be with us, not against us. It's not competition here. We're just evolving, almost.
Yeah.
And the thing you said about the cool kids being engineers as well. I was actually having that conversation yesterday because my my niece is one of these. She's very geeky, but she's also one of the coolest kids in the school. And I just remember saying to my sister, like, it wasn't like that when we were at school, was it? If you were intelligent and tried to be the smart kid, you basically got your lunch money taken off you. Now it seems to have flipped. And that's exciting, I think, for the future of our industry, that you've got a whole generation of kids, as you rightly say, who have already learned how to code in game. And now they're about to come through and flourish and need employment and change the game. And I think with that in mind, we're getting towards the end of the session, Jeff. So I just want to thank you, number one, for being here today and articulating all the things that you have so well about the platform. But I want to give you the opportunity now to give like a call to action. So people out there listening and interested in building and kind of getting involved with you guys, what can they do? How can people reach out to you? Where's the best places to talk to you? What's the process for builders? What can they do today?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and Ian, let me say it's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you very much for having me. I mean, we've been huge fans of DappRadar for a long, long time. So it's great to be on the AMA stage here. And thank you for having me. And yeah, I would just say in summation, if you're building a Dapp, if you're wanting to get started in Web3, whether that's with NFTs or DeFi or creating something, and you're a developer or you're a company and you're not quite sure where to get started, or even if you're along your journey and you're running into the same problems that we did when we were trying to build our first Dapp was warehouse management system on the blockchain. Come talk to us. Reach out to us at curvegrid.com, or you can find us on Twitter, Curvegrid Inc. And yeah, we'd love to talk to you and see if there's something we can do to help you, to partner with you, to help you get to market faster, and just to help you build and so that you can focus on your dream of whatever it is you're looking to build.
Nice. And just like I have another question just in regarding that, in terms of the kind of support that you offer, like you just said then, give us a shout. We're happy to talk to you. Is it that kind of vibe with you guys where it's a bit of a handhold and it's like, hey, come on, let's learn from the mistakes that we see in the market? Or is it just like a self-service thing?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, it's a great point. So, if you're sort of further along the journey and you're a little bit more confident in what you're doing, you can dive right in. We have a free developer plan that you can sign up for on curvegrid.com with Multibass. If you're a brand that's experienced in Shopify, or looking to kind of figure it out yourselves, you can go again to curvegrid.com and click on our products and look at our NFT pot Shopify minting app, and you can actually set that up yourself, install that yourself in your store, and you're ready to go. But what we found is that I think most companies, brands, projects that are serious about it want to have a little bit more of a conversation in order to help them, really hone in on what's going to make them successful. And, by all means, in that case, please do, reach out to us. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. But you don't have to, right? We're happy to have you along for the journey with us if you want to do so kind of on your own. You're completely on your own terms. That's no problem at all.
Nice. That's really cool to know, because I think one of the main things, and you see a lot of things where it's like Dapp grants and kind of money being handed around, and I always think money is only part of it, the equation that makes something successful, right? You can give someone a big bag of gold, but if they don't know how to open it, it's not going to help them much, is it? So that's kind of why I ask about that question. We spend a lot of time talking with Dapp developers, and a lot of it is exactly what you just said, Jeff, that you do want a bit more hand holding, a bit more, tell us about your network, let's make the right choices, let's not rush, and I think your approach to things is definitely a winning approach. So very cool. All right, I feel like we could talk all day, Jeff, so I'm going to wrap this up, otherwise we'll be here till midnight, I believe. I just want to thank you once more for taking the time out to come and speak to us today. I know you're at the end of your day there, so thank you very much. I think you've done a great job explaining everything, and I hope people in the audience today have learned something. And anybody listening back on our recorded session, if you've got any questions about this session, them in the video comments, no problem, we'll try and answer those, or I'll ask Jeff to come and answer them in case I can't.
Sure.
All right, so that's it from us today. Thank you again, Jeff. Nice one. And just to give that final shout, where's the best place that people should keep up to date with you? Is it Twitter? Is it Discord? Is it Facebook? Where's your most active channel?
Yeah, Twitter's the most active for us. So Curvegrid Inc. And again, our website's curvegrid.com.
Awesome. All right, cool, man. All right, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. That's it from me for today. As I mentioned at the beginning, we've got our community call tomorrow, so that replaces the usual DappRadar meets. So I'll be hosting that one, so come along. We've got our two leaders. We've got head of product. We've got head of content. We'll be talking about everything radar and what's going on with us over the next kind of 6 months to 8 months. So yeah, come and tune in. Throw some difficult questions in. We love those difficult questions. All right, that's it for me. Thanks again, Jeff. Have a great day and week, and I'll speak to all of you guys later. Thanks for joining in. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ian. Take care.